going on? Welcome to another episode of Music Girl Hideout, the show where we hang out with artists, musicians, and entertainers in Waylon Jennings' old basement studio. As always, I am gathered here with co-host Ryan Poole, who I'll pass it to introduce the guest.
Tonight, we have a very special guest, two people who are near and dear to my heart. We have Robertson, which is so hard to say, because Robertson is made up of Jeremy and Kat Robertson. And so I just want to call you Robertsons, because you are the Robertsons.
There's multiple, and it's pluralizing of the word.
I mean, technically both would be true.
But that's not your band name. It's just Robertson.
Robertson.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
One entity.
One entity.
One entity.
Now, I heard your guys' dog is named after Fleetwood Mac.
Yes.
Heard one of them.
Yes, one of them is Fleetwood, and then the other is Joni Mitchell. So.
She's
What kind
new.
Of, and what kind of dogs are they?
They're Cavalier King Charles.
Cavalier King Charles? Oh, we love those.
Spaniels. Yes.
So his mother used to have one of those, and it was very adorable.
Have you told us this?
Scooter was its name. He doesn't care about dogs like I love dogs. All right, he likes dogs. I mean, he likes dogs. He likes dogs. I love dogs.
Yeah, same.
He doesn't care about dogs like I love dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
Ryan's peripherally aware that there are dogs.
I'm
but-
aware.
Yeah.
They exist.
I would say Brian probably would like to get a dog at some point.
The
I
question
guarantee
is,
it.
I like the idea of dogs.
Likes the idea of dogs.
Do you believe in dogs? Have you seen a dog?
Yeah, he lived with us when we got our dog. We got a corgi.
Yeah.
That's right.
So adorable.
Name?
Gimli,
Gimli.
because that's the name of the dwarf from Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Because he's a dwarf dog.
Nice.
Yeah, look him up on Instagram. Gimli the dwarf dog.
There you go.
Okay.
Shameless plug.
That's shameless plug for my own dog.
Isn't it like Gimli the
Dwarf doggo, I think.
doggo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. It's my wife's. I mean, it's
respect
Gimli's. He managed it himself.
Yeah.
We have a TikTok
For
both.
the dogs. All
Yes, and shameless plug.
As you should.
Cavaliers of Nashville.
It's true.
Oh.
It's very straightforward.
We
like
just did we just hit 3,000?
Maybe as we speak.
Yeah.
We might be hitting
Or we're right at
3,000
3,000.
followers.
Dude, we gotta get these dogs on the show.
Yeah. I'm sure they'd have lots
These
to
dogs
say.
have a better following than any of our other artists.
They're
Jeremy,
great.
you mind pulling that mic up closer to your face?
Yes.
He's just trying to drink some water, man. No, but not to derail everything. I do love
Yeah,
King
sure.
Charles. King Charles are great dogs.
Yeah, so do we.
They're so good.
If there are any dog lovers out there, you should definitely consider a King Charles because they're the most loving, sweet creatures ever. Basically, our emotional support pets.
Yes.
And they're great lap dogs, too.
Yes.
Like, corgis, they have a lot of energy. So, like, he'll sit in your lap for a few minutes and be like, look, it's getting hot here. I got to go.
Yeah.
You know? But they'll
Yeah.
just sit there forever and just hang out with you. At least the one I knew.
Yeah. I'm
one I
sure
knew.
no one cares about this, but when you get into dogs, you usually get into dogs.
Yeah.
And when we first got him, we learned so much about how originally they were bred to literally sit on the laps of kings, so that
That's
the
why the name.
fleas would be attracted to the dog versus the person, which is
I didn't know that part.
disgusting on so many levels. But yeah, that's why now they just sit in your lap for days.
Yeah.
Really, if you want them
They
to.
were literally designed by
Yeah.
humans to do that, which is a crazy thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're weird. They're just like, hey, that dog likes to sit in laps more than other dogs, and so does that one. You too.
That's so
There have been
weird.
some real crimes against humanity committed, though,
Oh,
by
yeah.
with the what we've done to some of these poor dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look corgis, like I'm sure corgis they weren't originally have these 2-inch legs. Like they couldn't
Yeah.
live in the wild. If my dog lived in the wild, he wouldn't make it. You know,
Yeah.
he's not a wolf.
What happened there is a good question. What's the origin story?
How did we
of
get here?
corgis? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I bet there was one that just had like a real short leg, and someone was just like, "Well, that is adorable,"
Yeah.
and they just went from there, and that was just the start.
You're probably right, honestly.
You said crimes against humanity. Wouldn't it be like dogmanity?
Crimes against dogmanity. Yeah, like the French
Oh,
bulldog, or
That's a fantastic
I love French
title.
bulldogs.
Yeah.
They're adorable, right? Little
Right.
bowling balls.
Right.
Yep.
But my God, they should not exist.
Yeah. Also, are they genetically healthy?
No, they are not.
Yeah.
There's this one guy in so I've derailed us way far at this
That's
point.
okay.
But there's this guy, I want to say he's in one of the Nordic countries,
Okay.
one of them, who is like purposefully currently breeding a healthier French bulldog. And they have like a little bit longer snout so they can like breathe, you know, which is nice. Like a nice addition to the dog, the function of breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to make this healthier French bulldog, which I think is cool because they're a great dog.
Yeah,
Every time one comes up to me at the dog park, I'm excited.
I know. They're so cute.
They come
Even though
snorting
they're
up to
like,
you.
yeah, they can't breathe. Those guys cannot breathe.
At all.
So you mentioned Fleetwood Mac, and that
Yeah,
sent us
Ryan's
into the
like-
depths of dogs.
Yeah.
By
I was
the way,
waiting for it.
I think Crimes Against Dogmanity
Is
is
the name
like
of the episode
an
now?
incredible episode name.
Great.
But we have to figure out how that's relative to other things you guys say later. So
I'll bring up dogs
try
again.
to spin that in. So you grew up with Fleetwood Mac and James Taylor and all those kind of 70s. Was that the kind of like songwriters your parents were? Were they like 70s oriented songwriter, singer-songwriter, Laurel Canyon kind of people?
Yeah, Jackson Brown. Like I would say probably Jackson Brown is the most influential musician songwriter for my dad, and so that was very much the soundtrack of my childhood. And naturally, like growing up, I didn't want to listen to it. Like once I hit like middle school, high school,
Yeah.
right, and so I totally went. I'm about to derail the conversation, and I love it. Pop punk.
Oh, we're big fans.
Okay. So me as well. That was like probably in my adolescence and just being a teenager. That was like the music of,
Now,
me
are
being.
you younger than us? You look younger than us.
I just turned 30.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You mentioned for your
Yep.
30th birthday.
Just
so you're not
turned
that much
30.
younger than us. But
Yeah.
you got that like young skin though. You
I did
I know.
shave this morning. I was
great.
like, I'm gonna be on a podcast with video. So, yeah.
Pull out the young skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you listened to all pretty much the same music we did. We're only 4 years apart.
Yeah.
4? We're 4 years older, right? We're 34. You're 35.
I'm 5 years older.
35,
Wait, who's
34.
younger?
34,
I'm 3 months younger than him.
But
30,
then,
30.
What's your sister?
She's 2 years younger than me.
2 years younger
Yeah.
than
You
you.
just checking. You just
I
checking.
was just- I was just
like, yeah, she's a
curious.
decade younger. Like,
You know
bro.
what? Jeremy is 2 months younger than me, but you would think that he was 10 years younger than me based on how like he acts during those 2 months. You know, of like, oh, how does it feel that you're so advanced?
Yeah,
in
one foot in the
age?
grave.
Yeah, one foot in the grave. So true. You know, guess you got to take your wins.
Yeah.
We can get them.
But so most like the only reason I brought it up, I was wondering like, is
What-
the pop
which
punk
pop
like
punk
what?
bands?
Yeah, what
Oh,
is
yeah,
it that
sure.
you like?
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's most likely the same stuff
Yeah.
that we liked. But who's your favorites? What are the tops?
So I was just having a conversation with someone, I think it was yesterday, about this. Fall Out Boy for me is one of my favorite like top bands.
Okay.
Just growing up.
What era did you discover them in?
2005. So like Sugar We're Going Down
Yeah.
is the first song I heard
So the From Under the Cork Tree
from Under the
era.
Cork Tree, which I think is a phenomenal record
Yeah.
from start to finish. Like even today, like I will listen to it just for a throwback. But I will say personally, when it comes to Fall Out Boy, Take This to Your Grave, special place in my heart.
Yeah, same.
I love that record.
Me and his wife were listening to it
His
in
sister.
the car with my dad. So we were in the car with my dad listening to a local radio station because that local radio station was going to play my high school band. I was
Okay.
in high school at the time. And so we're listening to this radio station to their like independent music, 2 hours, and it comes on. Where is your boy tonight? I hope he is a gentleman.
Yep.
And I'm we're hearing that, and me and Corinne both bust up, and we're like, "This is so stupid!" Like, I think it was something about the gentleman and your boy and gentleman and all this. It was just kind of quirky, and
Yeah.
it was completely a cappella in the beginning, and we're like, "This song's dumb." But then, like by midway through, I started really liking it,
Yeah.
and then I was like, I don't think I admitted for a while that I liked it. I'm like, yeah, it's dumb. But I became the world's biggest Fall Out Boy fan after that.
Yeah.
And fun fact, they came and played at our local venue, Soma, in San
Really?
Diego. And it was
Okay.
like a 700-seater venue, or not even seats, standing room venue, 700 cap. And the singer was like standing out front waiting because they were like completely unknown at the time.
Yeah.
And I went and I brought our band CD and I was like, hey, I heard your song on the radio. I think it's cool. Here's our CD.
Wow.
And
So you-
that's
you
how
don't-
we became famous.
Patrick Stump?
Yeah, Patrick
Dude.
Stump.
Heck yeah.
I met him, gave him my CD.
That's
Wow.
Don't know
awesome.
if he listened, and I didn't become famous. So
Well, he listens to every episode. He'll let us know.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Also,
He wrote a song about it. You know the one where he goes like, "So you can have almost famous friends."
Yes.
Like, that's what he-
Which is a great song.
Yeah, he was talking about me.
Ryan Poole.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Learned
Famous.
something
Who
new.
the
knew?
more you know.
Yeah.
True. I feel like now I'm a real Nashvilleian because the other day So during the day, I do music marketing, and I was meeting an artist for breakfast. And as we're wrapping up, we're like walking out, and this guy is checking us out, literally checking us out, paying for our breakfast. And he hears us talking, I guess, and he's just ringing us up, and he says, "Do you work in the music industry?" And me and the girl look at each other, and we're like, "Yeah, why not?" He's like, "Do you have 40 seconds?" And I was like, "Oh, that's an oddly specific amount of time."
28 is my max.
But he proceeds to show me a highlight reel of his video footage work, which was honestly not bad at all. He was great. But that I felt like I'd been inducted into like the Nashville way of life now that
That's
I'd been
awesome.
approached checking out of a restaurant.
Yeah, I bet you just left that just feeling just so good. No?
Mixed emotions. It felt like home in a way, but take advantage. But I respect it. I respect the hustle. He doesn't know. He's just a Ryan Poole in the making.
No.
He's like, take my CD, take my CD, so and so stump. Ew. I don't
But at the
remember
same
that.
time,
Yeah.
Patrick, sorry,
on the flip
loyal
side
listener.
of that, it's like the Nashville rule.
Yeah.
That if you see someone famous, you say nothing. You
Amen.
treat them normal and you just keep walking on by. That's
Yep.
like the Nashville rule. And if you don't, that's how they know you're a tourist. Right?
Amen.
Yep.
So that's the other part is like, what's this guy doing? He thinks you might be someone. So he's coming up,
question.
getting in your face. He's breaking the rules. That's not allowed here. Right?
It's a good question. We should kick him out.
We should kick him out.
That feels like the answer.
No longer welcome in Nashville. You're out. Dane. Get out. Or whatever your name is. Tanner. Probably Tanner. Let's be
It
real.
was Tanner.
Yeah.
So as he got really into pop punk,
Yeah.
and then so when did you start playing? Let's cut to like when you started playing music.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was your intro to playing and writing, and like were you in a band when you were young? What did you do?
No, I always wanted to be. And never did until I met my wife.
No, that's not true. You were in a band.
Now, you met her before she
Don't
was your
downplay
wife,
your
right?
band.
I guess
It was
I
an
was
arranged marriage. No, I'm just kidding.
in a band. I guess I was in a band for a time in college. Some close friends of mine that we were playing music together, and there were a handful of songs that I had written, and so I kind of had this backup band called the Class Action because I let them
Ooh, I like
name
that.
it, and they
That's
were
a
like,
great name.
That's
Yeah.
a good name. I like
Yeah.
that.
Jeremy Robertson, the Class Action.
So then when
did
we
a
got
Kickstarter, the whole thing.
Oh wow.
when we got
Yeah.
married, our hashtag was obviously Jeremy Robertson in the Cats action.
Nice.
You get it? Because class action. It was right there.
Had
Yeah.
a great ring to it.
Yeah, it was a great ring.
But yeah, growing up, I guess, super into like pop punk, pop rock, that whole thing. But I would say probably like in high school, like I'm definitely just like many other guys that sing and play guitar and at that time frame, like super influenced by John Mayer. And so like listening to John Mayer like play guitar, I was like, I want to do that. That's really cool. And so probably like the singer-songwriter feel of my playing and stuff is heavily influenced by Mayer. Like so many other people.
Nice.
Well, I mean, he's one of the greatest guitar players ever, right? So, I mean,
It's like he plays like 2 or 3 notes and like his voicing is like, that's John.
it's like when people say their influences are like Led Zeppelin. You're like, well, obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're in everything.
Yep.
Yep. Same
So so I want to play a song and then come back
Okay.
and talk about Cat's journey. But before we do, take me really quick from the Class Action band, Jeremy Robertson and the Class Action,
Yeah.
to like you're playing music and like right before you met Cat.
Yeah.
Like, how did that all happen?
So we did a Kickstarter with the Class Action, and it was my junior year of college. And I thought it was pretty successful. Like I was really proud of it at the time, and we were really proud of it collectively.
So you made a record and everything?
Made a record.
Okay, so earlier
put it
when we
out.
said, were you ever in a band? You're like, I was never in a band. You were in a band that did a Kickstarter and made a record.
I was in a band,
right.
yeah.
So what he's
Yeah.
saying is you're a liar. I don't.
A lot of people would say if they were...
I am a liar.
You heard it here first.
You heard it right.
No, you're just being all like bashful
I know.
because like your band wasn't famous.
Yeah, but you were in a band.
Yeah.
I was in a band.
Lots
yeah.
of people were in bands that never did anything. They didn't
Yeah.
even record one song even one time, and they're like, I was in a band. 'cause
Still
I
counts.
played this one time with a group of dudes.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, like it just feels like a different life. Like, it's been now a decade, and yeah, just a lot of life has happened. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was in a band.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
First
nice to
step.
hear you admit it.
I'm Jeremy, and I was in a band.
So yeah, we did that junior year, but naturally, the band split up afterwards.
You're not still together?
Not still together. Those are definitely some fun times of my past, but like, the band split up about a year later, and then for me, probably, I guess 2 or 3 years went by between then and us meeting and dating and getting married and then playing music together. And for me, man, like I was like on the verge of like just hanging up music, and a lot of it had to do with, I guess maybe the stage of life. Like I was coming out of college, so I was about to graduate, and I'm thinking like, oh crap, like what do I do now? You know, how do I make money? I like my dream growing up for sure was like play in a band, do the thing, live in a van, like
Down by the river.
down by the river. Like that was like the North Star. But I started to lose my voice. I was never like trained, like didn't take any lessons, like none of that stuff. And I remember I had a gig at a restaurant in Murfreesboro, Friday night gig, 6 to 9. No, 6 to 10. It was 4 hours.
It's
and
long. That's
it
long.
was freaking long, dude. And they told me to take breaks, and I'm stupid, and I never took breaks because I just wanted to keep playing and wanted to keep singing. And I pretty much blew my voice out. Along with that summer, the summer that we met at a church camp, playing music for middle school, high school students for 8 weeks straight, Monday through Friday. You're singing 3 times throughout the day, just over and over and over again. So I got back that fall, my senior year, and my voice was shot, and I was about to throw in the towel. But I ended up going to an ears, throat, and nose doctor in town.
The ENT.
Yep. I went to the ENT, and I was like, what's wrong with me?
God
and they were
bless them.
yeah. They were like, you are fine. There's nothing physically wrong with your vocal cords.
Like no permanent damage. or
No
anything.
damage, no nodules, none of that.
Just tired.
Yeah. Well, and basically, like, you need to go to this person. That's what they told me. And that person was a voice therapist. And so this girl got me doing like push-ups on the wall. And
That kind of sounds like just standing next to a wall, leaning back and forth.
Yeah.
that's exactly what it was like.
Huh.
Okay.
Who knew that's what that was
She
called?
charged me for an hour's of work. Like,
Drop her name. No, I'm just kidding.
I only went once. I'll just say that. It wasn't helpful. And then finally, a mentor of mine, I was interning at his studio in Brentwood, and he told me, he was like, dude, you just need to go to a vocal coach. And so I went to a vocal coach in town. It was the best $300 I've spent for three lessons. Just learning how the voice works, learning how to sing properly, how to take care of your voice. And so, long story short, I did that, was able to, essentially redevelop, retrain my voice, understand how it works, how to take care of it, how to sing properly. And it's still a journey, but I was pretty much close to like throwing in the towel. And then right after that, that's when we again met and started playing music, and
Okay.
here we are.
So I want to hear that from Kat's perspective up to the meet cute. But
Sure.
but let's jump in there and play a song.
Yeah. So what are we gonna hear?
I don't know.
Whose song are you gonna play?
I always try
I'm just
to.
kidding.
I always just. Here's what I try to do. Okay, so all the listeners know, and everyone knows, and you know for the future. I try to go. Let's play a song, and then I'm gonna cut to their song right then. But then you
yeah.
always like jump in, and you're like, oh, what are we gonna hear? They're about
Yeah.
to tell you. They're about to say.
Yeah.
You mean
They're gonna
in
tell you.
the intro in
Yeah,
there? You
they're
mean
gonna tell you as
Oh
soon
yeah.
as they
Well, that's
walk in
new.
there.
We used to not do it that
So is
way.
all
didn't
of
used to
this
do it
right
that
now?
way.
Is this just fodder?
Yeah,
What's
none of
happening
this
right
is
now?
going in the
Okay,
show right
cool.
now. Yeah.
And this might go in the show. I
mean,
don't
maybe
know.
it will
I think
now.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I will say
Yeah.
you did include that off the camera Dawson Hollow bit when we were arguing about Star Wars.
Yeah, because it was funny.
And it was hilarious. Through the window, like you had the shot from
Yeah.
Wesley's camera through the window of us just like arguing about Star Wars. It was
And
perfect.
I loved it because Ben's like, we gotta go.
It's good.
Yeah. So anyway, here's Robertson.
I thought you were about to say, "What's your favorite Star Wars?"
All right, what's your first song?
What is
What's your first song?
It's Clover.
Clover.
Are you asking us, or is
Wait, what?
future
I
us
thought we
going to
were
tell?
cutting
I don't know. We'll cut at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the Robertsons playing Clover.
Some point in
The
there you're
day
gonna cut.
we
All right.
met.
This song is a song called Clover, and it's about being lucky enough to have made it 5 years in marriage. The day we met, I knew my luck had turned to gold. And I swore right then that I'd never let it get old. If I could choose again 100 times, I'd still choose you. 'Cause we were kids back then, another life, but I'd do it again and again. 'Cause I picked you like a four-leaf clover, lucky then I didn't know it. 5 years in and I still ain't over you. You're my shooting star, my favorite story, birthday wish and all of its glory. 5 years in and I still ain't over you. My four-leaf clover. I took a chance on life and rolled the dice. Came up aces face. And I don't know why I try and try. I'll never be the same. No. If I could choose again 100 times, I'd still choose you. 'Cause we were kids back then, another life, but I'd do it again and again. Picked you like four-leaf clover, lucky that I didn't know it. 5 years in and I still ain't over you. You're my shooting star, my favorite story, birthday wish and all of its glory. 5 years in and I still ain't over you. My four-leaf clover. Ooh, I'll never get over. I could have spent $1 million in a wishing well to end up just as well. picked up every penny that I passed along the way. It would have been in vain. Could have spent $1 million in a wishing well to end up just as well. Picked up every penny that I passed along the way. Would have been in vain. I picked you like a 4-leaf clover. Lucky then I didn't know it. 5 years in and I still ain't over you. You're my shooting star, my favorite story, birthday wish and all of its glory. 5 years in and I still ain't over you. Oh, 5 years in and I still ain't over you. Oh, a few years in and I'll never be over you.
And we're back.
Great.
Boom.
Okay, so that was Clover, which
Yeah.
is part of the new Robertson material.
Yes.
Yep.
But to get to the new Robertson material, we got to talk about how even old Robertson came to be.
So true.
So, flashing back, Kat, at the very same time that Jeremy's discovering Fall Out Boy and pretending to hate
Sure.
Jackson Brown, but then later loving it, what were you doing?
Well, I grew up in a cult.
Say that again.
I'm not. I'm not. But that's not really accurate. Sometimes I say that just because it's easier to give people a picture, immediately without having to like flesh out a lot of the details.
So it's like my name's Jeremy and I was in a band.
Yeah, we were
You're
doing
a
very
cat.
separate things.
You're a cat and she was in a cult.
Yeah, which isn't, again, not totally the full picture. It's more like it was a very conservative, and specifically how this played out.
As
is-
you know, I have a thing for dating cult girls, so I'm
That's
fully
true,
fully
Ryan.
aware of this.
Actually, yeah, let's take this podcast and turn it back around on Ryan's previous dating history, and I can do some good impressions.
Before we started, the second you said you were in a cult, that's exactly what I thought.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, Ryan can relate right to
Yeah.
this. Like, he knows all sorts of cult girls.
Yeah.
Well, you know what kind of inspired me to date, like to be okay with that?
What?
Was like having met, well, I won't say their name then.
Right.
Our mutual friend.
Other people.
And
Yep.
you both are girls that now are very well adjusted.
Oh my gosh,
But-
it's so sad, but
But
happy.
yeah, but you
Yeah.
guys both came out of like really conservative environments that were like borderline cults.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And now you're like very well adjusted, happy people that are easy to get along with. And I feel like for some people, having gone through that journey makes them a richer, more adept person.
Yeah.
And I feel like you come out on the other side and you're great. But
you.
there's some people who come on the other end of cults and sort of suck, like my ex-girlfriends. So anyway, back to you. So
Just
you
a
were in kind of a cult.
Casual drive-by on Ryan's ex-girlfriends. Yes, and I guess I'll stick to how it specifically impacted like my musical journey or lack thereof, in the sense that very strict on music because
Footloose situation.
that's a good question. I've never
We got a-
actually
we got a
seen that
Footloose situation.
fully.
You gotta get it
Probably,
together.
probably because of that. But like I didn't listen to music. The environment was really sports oriented, and this is sad, but like the first time I heard Landslide in a cognizant way was when I was like in my 20s, and I sent it to Jeremy and I'm like, have you heard this song? I'm like listening to it on Spotify. I'm like putting it on an inspo playlist. I was like, have you heard this song? It's so good. And Jeremy's like, Kat, the whole world knows this song except for you. And yeah, so Jeremy, I feel like as a pairing, it's been really cool, I think, for him, because he's gotten to be like, hey, you'll probably like this iconic group that you've never heard of or have no context for. And we've gotten to kind of go through some of that together, which is cool. But yeah, as far as like musical heritage or background, I started playing violin, took classical lessons
Now,
forever.
hold on, we're not going to jump over the cult that quick.
Yeah, okay. What do you want to know?
I don't know everything. What are the rules?
I think
What's the things that make it be that way that is very different from just very conservative churches?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think if you are someone who's listening to this right now and you are not a Christian person, just skip over this because it won't matter to you. If you are, some of these distinctions may matter. But like there were just things like, I had to wear a skirt that covered my knees in specific environments.
Now, were you allowed to wear pants?
Outside of church.
Okay, but in
and
church.
sometimes at like more active,
Sure. Church picnics,
environments.
things.
Yeah. So yes, and then the music was obviously like I can remember a sermon about the secondhand serenade song "Fall for You."
What?
You remember that song?
No.
Because tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. No.
That's like ringing
Don't let me
bells,
change
but
my mind.
MySpace.
I won't
Yeah, Wes
live
knows.
to see another day.
Go to the Wesley Cam.
Yeah.
Show those people that you know.
Yeah. So just like I can't probably articulate strongly enough the separation from like modern pop culture and specifically with music. Like a lot of the pop culture cinema references, that makes me sound pretentious. Film, worse.
Movies?
TV. Yeah, movies, etc. Not as bad, but the other stuff, it was just this intense focus on being separated from all of that, and especially with music, just really protective of what we took in.
So did you guys try to like live more separately as well? Like more like within your own culture only kind of situation?
No. I think that's probably what created the most confusion is that my parents and family, who I'm incredibly close to and still love and mostly agree with on all things, we were kind of a part of that without being like fundamentally entrenched in it, if that makes sense. So like at home or, we went to a private school, but it wasn't quite as strict as the church that we were a part of. Like,
Which is crazy.
yeah, so I had a lot of exposure to people who had more varying opinions and experiences. But as far as that one faith component, like where I was on a Sunday morning and what they believed,
Yeah.
it was very rigid.
Why do you think that you guys went to that super rigid
Yeah.
church, but in the other parts of your life you weren't
Quite
as rigid?
I think probably in large part because it was a family like passed down thing. I know both of my parents had inherited some of those beliefs and whatnot, even though they weren't necessarily practicing them out in the same way. It's like, especially if anyone is listening to this and they're from the South, I'm sure you can resonate with the idea of like, this is just what we do, even if there's not this like follow through behind it or necessarily like a well thought out process as to why. It's like,
Become
no,
like a
this is
habit.
just culture. You
Right.
button up, you don't wear white after Labor Day, you go to cotillion, those types of things.
What is cotillion?
Cotillion is like a manners course
Oh, wow.
for people. I know.
We
it's
lived
probably
very
bad.
different lives growing up.
But to be clear,
It's like chameleon.
I was not.
And then us in Southern California were like, chameleonaire.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
I know, it's so wild. And what's funny is like I think as a kid, or especially specifically as like a middle schooler, high schooler, you grow up just thinking this is the world, and it's just not. No matter what you're experiencing, it's not. And I think the most powerful thing I ever did was just go away to school, and it allowed you to just meet a bajillion different
is that just
people.
pretty much how you broke out? You just grew up and moved away.
Yeah, and I want to be clear, like my parents are some of the most like wonderful people ever. We are so close to them, and I wouldn't even say they like practice all of that, you know what I mean, anymore in the same way that we grew up doing. It's just more, it was like an inherited culture, which is just really fascinating.
That's so interesting because I think it's just really different than Southern California. Like
Sure.
you mentioned, like anyone in the South, you'll know this.
Yeah.
So in California, it is not cultural to go to church. It's not like
Yeah.
culturally advantageous for you.
It's like a little weird.
Right.
People don't
Yeah.
ask you normally like, what church do you go to or anything like that. So you like, if you go to church, you like kind of keep that on the down low
Yeah, sure.
with people outside of church. You don't
Yeah.
share
Which
that.
makes it sound oppressive, and it's not what he means at all. But
Right. No. I
No,
get, yeah.
I just
Yeah.
mean like it's not gonna like be a talking point.
Yeah.
And so it's not something you like bring up. It's not gonna win you any brownie points with people.
Yeah,
So if
right.
it's a part of your life, it is.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's not. But here, there's actually like, especially in Nashville, it's like it's actually
Beneficial.
socially beneficial. And what church you go to can matter.
Yeah.
So I hear. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever gone to the whatever church made it matter for you.
Sure.
Like, I think I've
Not
always
yet.
had the wrong answer, but
Yeah. No, I think that really is an important cultural distinction because if you grow up in the South, like you're saying, Nashville is such a unique situation because if you are someone in Christian music specifically, like obviously there are people that you can intermingle with if you're going to a church who might be advantageous, as you said, to your career. But just in the South and like the broader picture, like even if you were a banker or whatever, like being able to demonstrate that you are a person of faith is traditionally advantageous to your career or being a family man, a lot of these things, you know? And I do think it's so fascinating that like for both of you being from California, like that's just totally different because you're
Yeah.
from a different sector of the country, you know?
Yeah, completely. I mean, the
Yeah, it's
culture
so
shock
fascinating.
moving here was,
Oh my goodness.
which I didn't think there'd be any culture shock at all, and I didn't
Yeah.
even realize there was at first. It like
Sure.
took a while where I was like, oh yeah, everything here is different.
Yeah.
Like everything, it is not that different than going to another country.
Yeah.
Like the way people think, the way people act, the way they talk, everything is different, and it
Yeah.
takes a lot of getting used to.
Yeah.
And then the weird thing is you start doing those things. You know,
Yeah.
you realize it. And I went home, and one of my sisters was like, "Why do you have a Southern accent?" And I was like, "I do not have a Southern
yeah.
accent."
Yeah.
You know,
My mom is from Michigan, and every time that we're up there, they're like, "You sound so Southern." And then I feel like the rest of us, and her included, when we're in the South, they're like, "It's amazing you don't have an accent." But it's all relative, you know,
Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
your own perspective. But yeah. So then I go to college basically, and I'm really thankful for that time. Some of my best friends in the entire world I meet there. And if we're talking about the cult / faith perspective, that's where I really was like, oh, here's what I believe. And it is different from what I was, you know, basically ingesting all these years. But it's healthy, you know? And I think growing up and moving on is maybe one of the best things you can do. I can't speak to everyone's situation, but it was really healthy for me to move out of the situation that I was in to just be exposed to a myriad of new thoughts. And ultimately, it still led me back to the thing that I think was true, you know? There's no harm in exploration.
yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I feel like
new
yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, the
Thank you so much.
but I feel like that's like a lesson that I feel like the modern church doesn't teach as it should. And I think that at least myself growing up in church, growing up in, I don't know if our church, is Foothills a mega church? It's a big church. It's not quite mega.
Sure.
It's on the way.
It's on the way to mega church.
It's like 3,000.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
It's very small for a mega church, but it
Right.
might technically be.
It's a large
Yeah.
church, but
Yeah.
not quite mega. But I felt like if I said anything that was contrary, that was like quickly snuffed out.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, all that does is push people away from the church.
Yeah.
That's not helpful. Like
Yeah.
we should be questioning it, especially if you're saying something and if somebody says the Bible doesn't say that, like that's just your rule. That's a different thing, and
Yeah.
that's not biblical. That's not Christianity. That is modern church guidelines,
It becomes
which I
more
don't
of-
respect.
Like it becomes more of like a brand
Right.
focus, or like you're protecting something else. Like
Yeah.
Right. And it becomes so like human,
yeah.
which is something I'm very against
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that regard.
Yeah.
But I mean, kind of like your light cult situation
Yeah.
was like, seems like very much like the extreme of that.
Sure.
Like these are our guidelines. These are our rules. These are not biblical.
Yeah.
So when you went and got exposed to maybe other people's beliefs who are maybe
Yeah.
more closely aligned with what's actually biblical, that changes things for you. It sounds like.
Yes, and I think in large part, it just led me to a place of eventually being like, again, if you don't care about like Christian faith, like just skip over this. This is probably not for you. But if you do, like, I think it just led me to a place that felt like no matter what I unravel or like pull on or whatever, if this is true, God will still be there. And it's fine. There's no, if I,
You're
if,
not going
like,
to break it.
yeah, like if you put like, try to put theology or belief about God into a thing, like if you pull and tug and pull and tug, at the middle, it should still be him. Like it doesn't make sense that you can't ask questions, but then you're supposed to just endlessly believe that this God is out there. And so I think for me, that was ultimately the answer. It's like, I can ask these questions and the answer might be slightly different, but it's still him at the root of it. And I found a lot of comfort in that. And I know other people don't always feel that way, and that's totally fine. But like for me, just learning to like be okay with not having a lot of answers all the time too, and just being kind of like open-handed with things was really helpful.
So I feel like that's really healthy. Like, so I relate to what you're saying. I feel like I've been at times on the other side of that, where I remember being like in a small group of people and you're talking and it's like a church setting, and then somebody says something or asks a question that you know like what everybody else in the group thinks, and you know like that they're wrong or saying you know what I mean? They're saying something that we don't all believe.
Contrary to the belief of the group.
Contrary to the belief of the group, you know? And you feel like a little bit awkward, kind of like, oh, they're new, they don't get it or whatever. And that kind of like, I feel like at the end of the day, I think it's a church thing, but I think it's a organization thing. I think you see it in corporations and you see it all over. Just whenever enough humans gather, there's like a protectionism of the rules or the norms or the thoughts, and then you get everybody thinking in a direction. And
Yeah.
And
one of the things
right.
I feel in recent years is like, oh, I don't really like that. I'm like, you should be able to like think different. Like we should be able to all gather together in a church or anywhere else and think differently and like
be cool.
This person voted for Trump and this person voted for Biden and this person thinks the pandemic isn't real and this person is quadruple 6 times vaccinated, and yet you're all people and you all like each other and you're like, oh, interesting opinion. How did you get there? Like, how did you come to this conclusion? Interesting. And that's fine. And I don't have to control you. And I can be your friend if I think differently than you. And I feel like, I don't know if that's just church world that's like that or if it's humanity's like that.
It's not just
Yeah, I
church
don't
world.
think it is.
But
Dude,
what
Do you?
so many thoughts. I think we're living in a world today that's so tribalistic in nature, and one of the main reasons why is because of social media. Like, think about the ads and the content that's pushed to your newsfeed.
Yeah.
Like, it's essentially the thing that's keeping you coming back to that said app. Have y'all watched The Social Dilemma?
Yeah.
So it's like, I bring that up because think about whole, humanity and just so many people, that's their story. And so what ends up happening is that you are, it's like just a revolving door of like the same content and the same opinion and the same
Right.
thought.
And it's just
Echo
like more and
chamber.
more extreme, like more
Yeah.
filtered down to the most extreme version and then shoved in your face over
Yeah.
and over and over.
And then if you put that person up against someone who is doing the same thing, just on the opposite end of the spectrum or the opposite thought or belief, then
That's how you get the current state of
Yeah.
our country.
yes.
Right.
That's
Yes.
how you got what's happening
Turns
right
out.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Not great.
Like, man, yeah, there used to be a world where like you could disagree in health. Like
Yeah.
you could disagree and still respect that person because they are a person. Like they're breathing. they're living on this earth.
Right. They came to
Like-
their opinions somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether it's a good way or not,
Yeah.
for some reason they do believe what they believe.
Yeah.
And the truth is, you're probably not going to change their mind. So just fucking be nice to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I don't remember what we were watching or listening to semi-recently, where they were basically explaining that one of the overarching effects that we'll continue to see from social media's infiltration, shall we say, of society, is the idea of unfriending. So like Jeremy's talking about, as you create these more and more polar opposite tribal scenarios for people, what happens is that even in real life, you just think, oh, I'll just unfriend them. If Ryan at some point, like, in case you don't know, Ryan and Jeremy and I all have a friendship outside of this, and now Jerry, not to leave you out. But like, let's say one day Ryan says something that just really offends us, politically or whatever. Well, statistically, that leads to a scenario where we're like, okay, we're just going to X Ryan out of our life because
Ryan, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. Because we've experienced nice.
I thought you had one.
I'm really glad you did that. But because we've just experienced this online culture for so long of like, I don't like what that person has said. So instead of engaging with it and still caring for them as a human, I'm just removing the toxicity from my life. Which is not to simplify that, because I do think that's
there
also
are
a
some
thing.
good
But like,
times to remove toxicity from your life, but that's
like,
not every person you meet.
when you go too broad and over blanket a situation, like, maybe I needed to hear that perspective, or vice versa. Maybe I needed to speak into Ryan's perspective, and now I've just chopped him out of my life because I'm used to just being able to unfriend people when they said something I didn't like. And I think that's really important, because to one of your points, I think it was you, Ryan, who said this, like, sometimes you just need to disagree with other people and remember the humanity of every issue. Like,
Dogmanity.
Sorry, and dogs. I don't want to exclude them.
I'm trying to tie that in so I can make that the title.
Yeah, I like it. Or maybe it was you, Jury, but like, there's just times where I think it's important to just remember that everyone has arrived at their conclusion from their own experience, and it doesn't invalidate someone else's that we had a different experience.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you're right and that they're wrong. Even though
Oh,
sometimes they
man.
are wrong.
We could talk about this forever of like, I just think in general, there is so much we don't know, or like so much gray area, or so much room for how your experiences influence things. And people, as a broad rule, like, seem to just want to say yes or no, black or white.
Right.
Yes, right or wrong.
And that's
or
not how the
whatever.
world works.
No, and there's so much room too for nuance and discussion and like thoughts. And yeah, it just makes me sad, generally speaking, that so many people have lost out on valuable relationships or insight over something someone said at a dinner party one time.
Right.
That they just never even asked a follow-up question to explore further.
And you should have friends who disagree with you.
Yeah.
If everybody you're around agrees with you, nothing comes from that.
How else can you grow?
Right. And how else can you think about what your own beliefs are?
Yeah.
Because if I say I believe this, and someone goes, well, I don't, and here's why, that's going to make me think about it, which it should.
Yeah.
And then I should have to explain to you why I believe what I believe.
Yes.
And that's how discussion works. That's how arguing works, as long as it's kind of arguing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not enough people nowadays are willing to like go down there like, I don't want to talk about that, all the time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's the list of what people are unwilling to talk about just gets longer and longer and longer. And it's just becoming more and more of an issue. Like, I love to argue, and I purposely try. If anybody asks me what I think about anything, I'll tell you, and I'll defend it. But I don't get offended if you disagree with me.
Yeah.
But I'll fight for it. Like, if you want to fight, if you want to have that argument, I will do it with you. I love doing it. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. But people aren't ever willing to do it anymore.
No. Which I don't know what changed. Was it everyone feeling like they needed to make a public statement about things?
Maybe. And more as like influencer culture got big. And then obviously we have whether you like him or not, a very divisive president. Did not help the very escalating of it, I feel like. And
Are you referring to Joe Biden?
That's correct. I'm actually referring to Obama.
Have you heard of Nixon? No, I'm just joking.
I've noticed over the years that if you don't tell somebody what you think about politics or religion, and you just listen and be friendly and be a good person, interesting, charismatic, friendly, whatever, if you do those things, almost everybody will like you, and they will. I've noticed people will assume that you are the same as them. So people regularly. I had a client recently who made a lot of assumptions about me right off the bat. She was very liberal. And she said, like, she was like very vocal about her opinions, but she wasn't trying to explain politics as much as we're having just little conversations. But she made a lot of assumptions about what I probably thought, just because I was nice and didn't come off a certain way. So she assumed I'm very liberal. I've had other people assume I'm very conservative. People will make assumptions about, and what I've noticed is like, I don't know, how do I say it's not arrogant? I feel like I'm the kind of person who thinks like, most people are going to like me, you know, because I think most people like most people. If you're just friendly and nice, like people are going to like you. So when I have interactions with people, I expect that they'll like me and I'll like them. And we always get along. And I feel like people assume that you're the same thing they are because, and here's my question is it just the most tribalistic people that are like this? Because I won't tell anybody off the bat what I think politically or religiously or anything like that. I won't say it because I'm just like, I'm just going to talk about the things that are common to all of us.
Yeah.
But I feel like I encounter certain people who I'm like, I'm a little surprised because they'll make very bold statements assuming that I think all the same things they do. And my assumption is that they think I must be just like them because I'm a nice, good person. And if I'm a nice, good person,
Well, Ryan,
then I must
only
be
good
one of their
people
team.
XYZ.
Believe what you believe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone else is not a good people.
And that's kind of what I think is that, like, if you're very, very conservative or very, very liberal, you think that all the good people think like you and the bad people think otherwise. And there's like these monsters out there that you probably haven't met because they're not real. But
Right, those monsters are half of the country. Now,
Right.
that's the problem. Is you think half the country is criminals and monsters
See,
and evil people.
has anybody else noticed this? I'm just like, I think people think that you're the exact same as them as long as you're nice to them. They're like, you must think all the same things as me because the good people do and you seem like a good person. And I wonder, like, if in the past, like, before social media and before, like, constantly everybody broadcasting their opinions, I wonder if people just didn't talk about these topics and they were just kind to each other and so they assumed everybody's good. And that's why there wasn't the same divisiveness.
Yeah. Well, it's that, the phrase that everyone talks about, like, if you're hanging out with people, you stay away from religion, you stay away from politics, right? And maybe that was because historically that
was a problem.
That's what you did. Like, you had a family get together or you had an outing with friends in the neighborhood or whatever, you just stayed away from those conversations. But again, I think a good way to describe the climate of our culture today is tribalistic because of social media. Like we are living in an unprecedented time for sure with technology, social media, and just the same thought swirling around. You're going down a rabbit hole, like, of the same thoughts over and over again.
Yeah.
Aggressive
Well, the
thoughts.
internet's probably the best thing that ever happened to humanity, and probably also the worst thing that ever happened to humanity.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's
Pros and
two
cons.
hands to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because tribalism is like more how we started off a long time ago.
Sure.
Hence
and
why
we're
it's
back.
called tribalism, and we've like circled back to it.
And kind of along the same lines, but then kind of tangent. Think about this. So we are, our species, like humanity, existence.
Your species.
He does have great skin.
Jury's part of
He does have
Dogmanity.
great skin.
So we have obviously come so far, right? Like, we have evolved. Now, something happens, like post-apocalyptic, like people,
Zombies.
Like a
EMP.
pandemic.
lose
I'm just kidding. I can't say that word, and now.
You just earned us the COVID-19 banner.
Sorry.
No, we like that. It's a good thing.
Now we have a COVID-19 banner.
Nice. Proximity effect.
Yeah. Nice.
So let's say that happens, and now you're literally taking multiple steps down Maslow's ladder, and so you're now thinking survival. You're thinking just wanting to live and not die. Could we do it? Like we don't have power. We don't have access to like food or water. Like,
Hold on, did you just reference your own song right now? I just can't let that slide.
Ryan has done two subtle promos during this. He said live and die.
You said live and die.
Oh,
and so then I said in misery.
Dun, dun, dun.
That is not allowed. You can't do that.
where's the button for that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it because I thought it might crack you up, but you didn't hear it.
It took me a minute to process it.
I totally.
So wait, what's your overarching question of if we were in a
So,
apocalyptic scenario?
You were talking about how we've come like full circle, like we're
Yeah.
now tribalistic. I think too. Think about how much we've evolved, and technology has like just essentially we're able to operate as humans, like, and live and survive and thrive in a way that's just clearly we've never lived like this before, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right,
if you were to look at the timeline of existence that we know.
Right. I mean, look, 40 years ago,
Yes.
Yeah.
what we
yes.
live now is unimaginable.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
Isn't
you
that
think about that a
crazy?
century, 200 years.
Yeah.
Like it's
Oh
very
my
much.
Well, I think to
exponential.
your earlier point, it's interesting when you frame it that way, but like previously, or maybe I guess it's coming off of Ryan's point, but someone's characterization of whether or not I'm a good person is off of their direct interaction with me, not only in my words, but like my literal action. Like, oh, they helped me when I was in the parking lot and I dropped a can of soup. That person who lives down the street did that. End of interaction. There was no like overarching psychological exploration of my Facebook posts or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Like, what if that was your only categorization of people was when I interacted with them at the supermarket, they were pleasant. Therefore,
Which
it
it was.
equals. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Just the other day, like not that long ago.
so weird.
Okay.
So weird.
Tell me, am I in the minority here? Oh.
You love Facebook?
No.
Meta?
I realistically,
Oh, you're right.
I naturally think
Is it time to end?
no,
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 okay.
you're good. We still have more songs to play.
You did the Twitch, the watch Twitch.
No. So I think that overall I like everybody. Like I think like all people are pretty great. And like there's some people I don't like. They're out there.
Yeah.
But generally I have a starting point of like everybody's great. And then when I hear their different perspectives online and all the chaos, I naturally think like, well, they, you know, I think why did they think that way? Well, they think that way because of like how they were raised and who raised them and their perspective and everything else. But like people who are on opposite sides of the debate, I think they're all great people. Like I like all of them. And I'm just like, I assume most people have good intentions and that they just have different information than me and a different context. I don't agree with everyone, not even a little bit. Like I don't even agree with most people. Like you know what I mean? But like
And you shouldn't.
I assume that they're great, awesome people who are trying their best. Which I think the downside is that there's some people who are Jeffrey Dahmer. Like there are some people who have bad intentions. There are people who like are purposely trying to be bad. But the core way I look at most people is like, oh, I assume they're good, and if they disagree or they have an opinion that's very different than mine or very antagonistic, I'm like, it's probably because of their circumstances in life that they're like this. Do most people not think that way?
I don't think most people think about it at
How do
all.
you guys think? Do you think people are like core? I got all the way to the like heart of human.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great
good versus
question.
evil. Like at the core, are you people good, bad?
I think I see some of that.
I feel like you probably agree with Ryan as your own like disposition.
I feel like I try my best to live in a way where I try to see the best in people like right out of the gates, and then I also just my belief system. I clearly believe that that the world we live in is broken, like and very dark. And I think humanity is broken and fallen and dark. And so I know that there will be glimpses of that in every person, including myself, first and foremost. But I want to say that I like try my best to lead out with any person I meet to try to find the good in them, or to at least connect on a human level, like on a personal level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I know we talked about a lot during the pandemic, or used to say a lot specifically then when things were like really heating up, specifically online, because that was like where we were seeing people. But Jeremy and I had this rule of like, we're going to try intentionally to be curious versus judgmental. So like wherever someone landed, like that natural human inclination to be judgmental, I think stems from a place of being like, no, I'm right.
See, but I
So
don't
they're
think that's
wrong.
bad. I think that's a
Oh,
good
interesting.
thing.
Okay, tell me
Oh
more.
yeah, you are a INTJ for judgmental.
Oh,
INTJ?
interesting.
ISTJ.
Judgment.
Okay.
ESTP.
ENFJ.
Wow.
ENFP.
Yeah, so I'm the polar opposite of him exactly.
Wow. Say
Hey,
yours again.
opposites
Really
attract.
fast.
ISTJ.
ISTP.
But no, I think judging is good. I think everybody should be more open about judging everybody. I think that we all judge people, whether conscious or subconscious.
Yeah.
And that the fact
Yeah.
that we try to pretend like not being judgmental is good is actually detrimental. Because if we could just be open, like I can say, I believe this, and I believe if you don't believe that, you're wrong. And if somebody tells me that they don't believe that, I think it's okay for me to say, I believe you're wrong. I think that you are wrong. If you do something that I see as bad, it's okay for me to say, I see that as bad, because that is my personal experience. It's no different than any other opinion. And that it is our judgments that make us human. It's what let us have that discernment that maybe a lot of other animals
That
don't.
is such a like ISTJ centric viewpoint.
Sure, will make sense.
Which affirms.
Yeah.
I am.
No,
Which
that's
affirms, which works so well for your thing. Your
Okay,
theory is
But when
like
people say they
everybody
don't
should
judge,
be this way.
whenever someone says the phrase, "Oh, I don't judge," or "I'm not judging you," I'm like, "You're
Yeah,
lying.
yeah.
You're,
Right.
you are judging me. You're just not saying it."
Well, but you are. That's why you're using the that's why you
Right.
have to use the disclaimer that you are. It's like when someone says respectfully, no.
I'm like, no, that doesn't mean
and
anything.
you're like,
What
yeah.
you mean is no.
right.
No, okay, but
It's
judging,
okay to say that.
maybe
Okay.
maybe we need another word here for clarification, because judging carries a connotation of like I'm judging you,
You're right, Wesley. You're
therefore you suck.
right. Wesley's reminding us we need to jump into another song.
Okay.
Because we are. I mean, we're just having great conversations.
Actually,
We're just like
this
blowing
song-
through
We're having a
time.
great time,
This
Wesley.
song is about the philosophical. No, I'm just kidding. It's
The
not.
song's about judgment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dun dun.
All right, we're gonna switch off this topic. We'll talk to Wesley and find out if we're being boring or
Yeah.
if we
No,
just
we're
need to
not. We're being
refresh
awesome.
cameras.
It's like turning
I think
into
we're
a
being awesome.
philosophic
Yeah, we have.
discussion.
But
we
also-
have no idea how you guys met.
Yeah,
or
when we
started
get
a
back, we gotta
band.
get back into the story.
Yeah.
We've like taken an hour-long derailment.
hey, we're here
But-
for it.
But until then, we'll be back for more
Yeah.
philosophical talk. But for now, we're gonna play a song.
We are
Yes.
right now.
And this song,
Is called "My Love Your
My
Love."
Love Your Love.
My love, your love.
Yeah.
All right.
Clove.
I suck at this.
And here it is.
Yeah. Da-da-da-da. You gonna tell them about the song?
Yeah. This is a song called My Love, Your Love, and we wrote it on a beach in Florida.
Like the way you laugh, babe. Music to my ears. My love, your love is sighs. Like it when I dance in the kitchen, thinking I'm as smooth as ice. My love, your love is sighs. Right now nothing can go wrong. All these moments won't last too long. With you on the back porch, I'm the happiest here. All of your love is ours. Right now, nothing can go wrong. All these moments won't last too long. Yeah. Riding bikes down Front Street, feeling like a kid. Yeah. Smile, your love. It's ours. Take it in, slow it down. Take it in, slow it down. Take it in, down. Slow it down.
Okay, real
Okay.
talk.
No,
This
obviously.
is
All right,
real.
We're back, and we're back.
And
you
we're
can,
back.
You can keep this in the podcast
Yeah,
if you want.
absolutely.
But do you guys know about the FEMA coffins?
I don't know.
No.
Okay,
What?
well, I'll just leave that in there as a nugget
Wait,
for anyone who's
wait,
listening.
Are you
Is that
talking
for
about,
episode 2?
Are you talking about Fire Festival?
No,
right now?
those are separate.
Okay.
But the FEMA coffins is a really fascinating YouTube rabbit hole.
It's so hard for me not to want to go down that right now.
FEMA. It's the Federal Emergency Medical whatever. So just go look it up. It's connected to the Denver airport.
Robertson Part 2, we will be discussing conspiracy theories heavily.
Also, disclaimer, I have no idea if any of this is real, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure, it's all real.
you
It's
know.
all real.
Okay. Have you guys ever heard that phrase, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans?
Oh my gosh. Is that what's happened tonight?
Yeah, that is how I feel about this.
So sweet.
I'm like, as far as we've gotten in your story, to me is like 10 minutes into the show, and so,
and we've just constantly pulled it off topic, which is what we do best.
but it's beautiful. You
Yeah.
know, you make plans. Today, this is a side note, but it ties in.
God damn it,
Today
Ryan.
was the first time I ever, the first time I've made a
Friend.
to-do list
Wow, this could have gone
in like 5 years,
Yeah.
and nothing from the to-do list happened.
Nothing.
Nothing, because I had all these emergencies, and I'm like, oh, this is why I didn't do this.
And welcome to working in the music
Yeah.
industry. If you're interested in that,
I don't
hit us
typically
up
make
afterwards.
I don't typically make to-do lists. Typically, I just do what I need to do and what comes up.
Yeah.
And today, I tried to make a to-do list. Didn't work. I just had to do what came up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so the question that comes to my mind: are you going to continue tomorrow with the
Ooh.
to-do list?
I'm going to
or-
try again.
No,
Okay.
you
I'm
have,
gonna
you have to
try
make a
again.
new to-do list
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Because you
I'm gonna
had
just
a
try-
bad day. Taking one down.
Tomorrow, I'm going to try to do what I want to do today.
That's good.
Anyway, this isn't my point. My
Psych-
point is this.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah, where
trying
are
to
you
get us
going?
back on track.
Yeah,
I'm trying
go,
to
I just
go,
wanted
go.
to say,
forever.
what I wanted to say is this. Our conversation has been amazing. I wanted to get more of your story out,
Sure.
and we're going to try right now. But I
Okay.
love everything we've talked about.
Same.
So anyway,
Philosophy of the world.
We just played "My Love, Your Love," a song that we recorded together. Love that song. Moving on. So how did you two meet? We got Jackson Brown and Colt Girl, and then you all met
Is
doing
that my
how?
superhero name?
Yeah.
Girl!
Yeah, do you want to tell it or do
And
you
the
want me
cat
to?
action.
Yeah, Jeremy and the Cat's action.
Cold
guess I
Girl
can
in the cat action.
You want to start?
I
it?
can start it.
We need to hear, how did you meet? How did you start Robertson? What did you start
Yeah.
doing? And then, by the way, I went back and listened to your older music today.
Yeah.
which I've hardly done.
Yeah.
Right, because you hate us.
No, it's funny, but like for people listening, they
I'm
wouldn't
just kidding.
know, but I'm producing your new music.
Yeah.
What?
And and what's funny is when I met you, I kind of listened to your old music for like a few seconds, but I purposely didn't spend much time with it because I didn't want to be held back to like thinking what you were
Sure.
and trying to do that again. I kind of purposely just wanted to hear what you had to say about what you wanted to do now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. I haven't like done a deep dive on you, even though I'm working with you. And I did
now
today,
we're
and I'm like, oh,
friends.
it's very different. The old Robertson is very different from where you are now
Sure.
musically.
Yeah.
And so see how well you can do at telling your story to get to there. And then
gosh.
Jury's going to try to talk to you about dogs, and let's see what we can do
No,
to
I
keep
still
the
want to
story
know what the
going.
very specific question that Kat has for me.
Oh, yes.
We'll
I'll
get
hold
there.
that till
Yeah.
the end if
Yeah.
need be. Okay, go ahead.
We have a very important question for Jury.
Well, I was a junior in college, and
In the class
I was
action.
I was in the class action, and I was trying to figure out how to make money in the summer. And a friend of mine told me that I should
Jonathan
apply.
Wyndham.
Yeah, my
Shout
friend,
out.
my buddy Jonathan.
Does his family happen to own all the Wyndham resorts?
Actually, apparently, no. I'm saying that apparently, so I have a disclaimer just in case. But to my knowledge, no.
They're not phenomenally
Bummer.
wealthy, and they don't own
You
Las
know what?
Vegas.
It's funny. It's a similar situation to us and the Duck Dynasty family. But if anyone can trace that back, we will gladly accept.
Gladly
the
inherit a lot
royalties
of money.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When he first, because he just texted me and he's like, add these people to the calendar,
Yeah.
and he said Robertson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, who are
Yeah.
these guys? So I went on Spotify and typed in the Robertsons.
Sure.
And immediately came up with Duck Dynasty.
Immediately.
And I was like, are we getting the Duck Dynasty people?
I'm sorry to let you down.
Meanwhile, Jeremy comes with a clean-shaven face.
Yeah, you're the opposite. The opposite of that.
Jeremy has a 12-care skincare routine. We'll
Oh, I can talk about
drop it in
skincare
the
for
comments.
days.
Back to the story.
I used to sell skincare.
But if Duck Dynasty somehow that fan base got to this podcast,
That'd be great.
Our Venmo is at Robert.
Yeah.
Drop us
Well
some-
Nice,
done.
Jeremy.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it was
Okay, do we have a sound for that? Meow, meow, meow.
yeah, that.
You've just donated money to the
Yeah.
Robertsons.
No, just
HSN
Robertson.
sound. Yeah.
This is like
At
Pacific all
Robertson
over again.
Music.
Okay, so John Wyndham told you about a
Yes.
job.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Just in
Jonathan
case.
Wyndham.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was this camp out on the East Coast, right outside of Wilmington. And he didn't have to sell it to me. It
In
was,
North Carolina.
Sounded great. It was a church camp for middle school, high school students, and
It was at the beach.
it was at the beach, and you got to play music and just be there and be
Actually,
on the staff. Yeah.
Have any of you ever seen the Nicholas Sparks film Safe Haven?
I have not.
It was filmed in Southport, North Carolina, which is where we basically were. We were actually
Yes.
there when that was filmed. So
Wow.
And
you can use that in your promo material if you need.
if you've ever seen,
And Sparks flew.
if you've ever,
Sparks flew. Nice. Yes, exactly.
if you've ever seen the show One Tree Hill,
I have not.
No, but
What?
we both met an actor
I've
from
seen-
that show.
Which
We
one?
did?
Please tell me.
I think his name is something Michael Copan.
We
Who
did?
the heck
He was
is
in
that?
season. Yeah.
He's an
Oh,
extra.
if he's listening right now, that laugh, he's so sad.
I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna be like, it's Chad Michael Murray.
No,
Have
no,
you
no.
heard of him?
He was on season 2, and he was somebody's brother.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I'm sure you
Okay.
were amazing,
Feel free
Michael.
to cut this out, but was he a guest we had on the show and I just don't remember?
No.
Okay, thank
no,
God.
No. Remember how Michael Copan? There you go. See, remember this guy?
Bring it over to the left a little bit. Left
to the
Hey.
left a little bit.
That's the wrong left.
Remember he was interested in Danny Marie's friend, and we went to LA, and
Wow.
he like showed us around. We went to Sunset Strip with him. Remember we played the show in Hollywood
In that underground.
in the underground thing, and then we went to Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, yeah,
and he
that's
took us to that
right.
place with the
I
horse
do
riding. And people
vaguely
knew
remember
him.
that.
He had been on
Michael.
like That's So Raven.
Whoa.
and
cool.
One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
and a bunch of like those kind of shows.
Hey, Michael, shout out to you if you're listening
Yeah.
because
He listened to every
and,
episode.
and he was
you
in the
have
Scorpion
made it
King.
so much
He's in the
farther.
Scorpion King. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Wow. I can't wait to look up your IMDb after this, Michael.
Good looking guy. Good looking guy. We saw
Yeah,
him.
great looking
Sharp.
guy. Congrats. Great skincare routine.
Very nice. Anyway, that's my One Tree Hill
So-
thing.
Wow.
Go on.
One Tree Hill, Dawson's
Haven.
Creek,
Hollow?
not Dawson Hollow, but
Whoa,
We
whoa,
already discussed,
whoa,
we discussed
whoa,
Dawson's
whoa,
Creek
whoa.
on the Dawson Hello episode.
Whoa.
Dude,
Keep going.
They were all shot in Wilmington.
Yeah.
Safe Haven was actually in Southport.
Which is where we were.
I digress. That was where the camp was at. And so my buddy told me, hey, you should apply. So I applied. And I'm so glad I did because I got the job. And so I flew out to the camp
It's your
for the
first
summer.
flight ever.
Yeah, I was
Whoa.
pretty. Well,
Jeremy
it
had
was
never been on a
technically-
plane.
It was technically my second. The first time I flew was when I was 5 or 6.
This is exactly my flying story too.
Does that count?
I like flew when I was a kid and don't remember. Like
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
know. But
Where
I
did
was
you
told I
go?
flew to Washington. And then when I was 18,
Where did you go?
I flew
Washington?
to Boston.
Washington.
Okay.
No, when I was a kid, I flew to Boston. Didn't
Okay.
know.
JF,
when I was
or
18,
Logan.
I don't know. I
Your
don't know.
guys' meet cute was like, I was born in a cult. And yours was like, I've never flown on a plane. It was like, okay, let's be friends.
Tell us you're from the South without saying you're from the South. That's what
like-
this is
So
what
like
it
we
is.
met our first rehearsal weekend. We met and
This is true.
and I remember she was running late because her flight had gotten delayed
I was
or
living
something.
in Florida at the time.
And she came in. I always describe it as a blonde tornado because she came in super fast and just was saying hi to everyone because that would have been your third year doing the camp.
Yeah, I'd been there.
She knew
so
everyone.
this is Jeremy's like the new person.
I'm like wide-eyed,
know?
like I don't know. I know no one.
Also, look at how cute he is. You
Hella
think I
adorable.
wasn't gonna come in there and be like, look at that cute person? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Immediately clocked.
Full
This
head
is
of
so
hair.
cute. Yeah, probably
face
not gonna go
skin.
bald long term. Like this is a safe
Gotta lock this in.
investment. Yeah, exactly. Look at his skincare. Show me your
Go!
products.
All the steps.
Go
He's
on,
got the
go
serum,
on.
the
Turning
eye
red.
serum.
Oh,
He
so
exfoliates
cute.
weekly.
Yeah, yeah.
Anywho, we met that weekend, and then your flight, you had a connecting flight in Nashville.
Yep.
So I was flying back from RDU to Nashville, and she was flying to Nashville to get back to
Tampa.
Florida. Yeah. And so we sat together on the plane,
True.
and I remember we talked the whole time.
Left the flight changed. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So much.
That's pretty cool.
Well, we left on kind of different headspaces.
Jeremy went back and broke up with his
I
girlfriend.
went back and broke up with my girlfriend.
Is it because you met her?
Is it?
I mean, you should say it
Play
is,
the
even
sound.
if it's not.
Da-na-na-na.
I mean,
Oh, that's not the right button.
What was that? That's the cricket.
Oh, it's the cricket.
No.
You changed the. Which one's the X
At
Files?
this moment that he knew.
No, that's wrong too.
No, we're on the wrong page. We're on
Listen.
the wrong page. Oh,
We've
God,
been
here-
together for
so that-
many
yeah.
years. I'm not worried about it.
I gave
Yeah.
up on the sound.
anyways, I broke up with my girlfriend, and you left and said, "Thank you."
Congrats to Kat.
Yes, so I'm so glad I did. And you left and said, "Oh, he would be a good friend."
Yeah, that's true.
That's the way that you worded it.
You just got friend zoned.
It's true. It wasn't Jeremy's fault. It's complicated, et cetera, et cetera.
You were coming out, just came out of a cult. And
Yeah, I was coming out of a cold, also an almost engagement, TBD.
You're all, he doesn't believe in Zoltan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so many questions.
Yep. So that's, I guess, that was the way that we first met. And then that summer, we worked together for the whole summer. And
Sparks flew, as they say.
should we talk about the,
I don't know.
like,
I don't know where this
absolutely.
is going. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so the camp, we didn't date during the camp because
That's true. We followed the rules.
we folled the rules. And
Losers.
yeah,
Well,
Rule
we did the
followers.
right thing.
we did the right thing.
Go ahead.
But then after the camp was
Yes.
over,
At the end of the camp on midnight, specifically, as the camp contract ended, conveniently and just coincidentally, all my girlfriends were waiting in my hotel room where I lived because we all knew that Jeremy was coming to knock on the door and
With
say
a
he
pint,
was interested.
a pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, not a sponsor, but also if you're interested, hit us up.
We're open.
Yeah.
Fish food specifically.
True.
That's a good one.
That's
That was-
my favorite of all time.
Favorite of all time?
Yes.
All right.
And you know what? I can make a case for it if you need us to go there. So I've had a lot of. They actually. This is a fun fact.
I love that. If you need us to go there.
If you, if
I
you,
think you know
we
me
do-
by
we need
now,
you.
and now you know I need everything.
if you need us to clip this, I can tell you that for a span of years, I haven't looked recently to see if it's still accurate, but Ben and Jerry's used to follow me on Twitter before that
Really?
became like a dead platform.
They shipped you.
Right.
I don't think Twitter's a dead platform. I think
Well,
it's the most
yeah.
active social media in the world.
Is that true?
Well, in the U.S. for sure.
Oh, fascinating. I'll have to fact check
Fun
that.
fact.
Anyway.
Kat does social media for a living, so
Okay.
Oh, you gotta
Anyways.
fact check that then.
Back to Ben and Jerry's. So
Confirmed by Wesley. He fact checks us.
wow, I love that. It's live.
To be
I
fair,
really
he just
like
wrote
that.
yes on a notepad and stuck it in here, but
Hey, I respect it. I trust Wesley with my life, honestly. So Ben and Jerry's, though, I became obsessed with them growing up because my best friend's family had a house at Emerald Isle, North Carolina. And we started going there, and I'd never had like a artisan ice cream before that. I don't even know if that's how they would say themselves, but whatever.
Craft.
And craft, high end, $6 a pint. Come on. Anyways,
Isn't Ben Jerry's about $6 a pint now?
that's what I mean.
It's crazy.
It's expensive. So
Wait. You're calling Ben and Jerry's craft ice cream?
yeah. I'm sorry. Are we talking about Breyers?
No, I thought you were alluding to the
No.
concept that you thought fish food was the best until you had good ice cream. Your Ben and Jerry's is some like
I'm sad.
mass manufactured.
Well, yeah, they're
Oh my
not.
gosh, I
It's
want to
not
know.
craft at all.
All right, what is the best
Yeah,
ice cream?
Well, I mean, if you're talking craft,
Craft.
all I can talk about is local, really, realistically.
Which is
Okay,
what?
Which is
Jenny's.
okay.
that's not local. That's
What's your-
Ohio based.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
I'm sorry.
You just
Wesley can
crushed-
fact check that
Please
too.
fact check that because I thought it was Nashville
Our friend
based.
is actually their social media manager. Shout out to him
I didn't know that.
for crushing.
Oh,
But,
Jenny's is bomb.com though.
Jenny's okay.
That almond,
obviously.
brown
Sold out,
butter,
though?
almond, whatever. I don't. This
Okay.
is the best ice cream I've ever eaten
The
in my
Listen.
life.
gooey butter cake is my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it just feels like ice cream sandwiches are trash. We all know it.
okay.
Ice cream
What?
sandwiches. Wait,
Yeah,
let me
yeah,
finish.
yeah,
Ice cream sandwiches are the Werther's original of ice cream. It's like none
What
of
do you
us
have
would.
against Werther?
Wait, let me finish. None of us would choose this, but like it's here and we're fine with it. And it's nice. It's nice.
I love a
nice.
good caramel, a
It's
good
nice.
Werther's. I love it. I love a
Again,
good ice cream sandwich. It's
I
delightful.
would say if I were doing the advertising for an ice cream sandwich or Werther's, I'd be like, it's nice.
I gotta disagree.
I would go with bomb.com.
To just objectively.
Bomb.com.
Think about Jenny's.
I do love Jenny's,
You're
but a
putting it
Jenny's
on a
ice cream.
scale?
But who says well the ice cream in the sandwich can't be
Look,
Jenny's?
the fact that ice cream sandwiches and Jenny's exist in the same orbit is just like mind blowing because think about like ice cream sandwiches belong in the same category as Nutter Butters. Or that's the wrong
okay.
title.
I
That's the
love-
wrong title.
I love Nutter
I mean
Butters.
drumsticks.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Ice cream sandwiches, drumsticks, and those weird red, white, and blue Christian
no, no.
nationalism
That's
push pops.
Christian nationalism. That's the title of the episode. Christian nationalism push pops.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about, and those are trash.
Yeah.
Those are trash.
Those three things are the same category. And then you move up and you've got like Breyers and those tiny ones that you eat with like single serve brownies.
Oh, it's nonsense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you move up and you've got like Ben and Jerry's, Jenny's,
You
Talenti
got
Gelato.
Ben and Jerry's. You got to go another tier
How
up for
dare
Jenny's.
you? You know what? Back to my original story about Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, yeah.
They used to follow me on Twitter specifically.
Which
the
is rad.
most,
That's
the
amazing.
most whatever you said platform in the world.
They
Yeah.
sent you something.
That's where I was going with this.
Wow, way to ruin the story.
It's okay.
I was trying to push
So
the story
I went through
along.
a phase where I was like mildly obsessed with them. And they eventually, because I won a contest, shipped me on dry ice a thing of their new Tonight Dough flavor, which is a
Tonight Dough's good.
partnership.
That's a good one.
It's a great one. But I was pissed because I was like, you told me you could not deliver, and then this arrived at my doorstep in
Yeah.
dry ice. So obviously you could. It was just like
Bunch
a
of
personal
liars.
problem. Yeah, or
I wonder if
something you were
Ben
going
or
through.
Jerry is the liar. You know?
They're so good at following your distractions.
I know, it's so
especially
good.
Kat. Kat, you and Jury could have your own podcast where you guys
Oh
just
my
are like,
gosh.
subscribe.
Is this a
Good.
compliment?
This is how it starts. Music
This
or
is
Hideout,
how it
over.
starts.
yeah, you
Okay.
guys are on the same wavelength
Look,
of
well,
like,
Ryan,
let's follow the
I gotta
rabbit
say,
trail wherever it goes.
We've had a lot of great guests on lately.
Yeah.
A lot of really cool guests,
Yeah.
but none of them have been willing to go down the rabbit holes with me like you guys have. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that because that's what I do. He tries to talk about music.
Here's
I
what's
try to
fun.
talk about everything else.
We love
right
rabbit
now,
holes.
we're producing their next song. It's called Rabbit Hole.
That's true.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The episode should be called Rabbit Hole,
Yeah.
but I'm really attached to Crimes Against Dogmanity, so we'll see what happens.
TBD.
Okay, so with that, we need to start wrapping it up. So I want to say
we
this:
do.
you
Sure.
guys met at this camp over ice cream,
Yep.
right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
essentially,
kind of. That's an
Basically. Let's just
oversimplification,
keep
but
it
yes.
rolling.
part of our relationship.
Did we have a milkshake or two? Sure. At the Drift Inn?
At the Drift Inn.
We sure did.
And somehow you just started dating, and then you got married, and then you started a band. And
You're
then
really jumping
here you
ahead
are.
here. I get it.
I don't know. Can you wrap that up succinctly at all? Because we have to ask you one
Babe,
last important question.
do.
Ooh, I can't
Done.
wait. I'm
Do you
really
have something
excited
to say?
for that.
Yeah,
How would we wrap it up?
I don't know. Maybe we need
What
to
would
just
you
have
say?
you back.
You go first and then I'll go.
I mean, I was the one that started it. You finished
Okay.
it.
Jeremy basically told me that he liked me. We ate fish food down by the river, or sorry, not river, ocean
Ocean.
overview,
Yeah.
except it's very flat there because it is on the, whatever you call it, intercoastal waterway or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's not really wave
Never heard of it.
oriented. Anyways, if you're from the South, you might know. Anyways, then I don't know. I was almost engaged right before I met Jeremy. And
Really?
yeah, and I think for me, it's corn. No, I'm just kidding. That'll be an outdated reference by the time people listen. But I think I don't know how else to say it. I feel like my whole life people just were like, you'll know when you meet the right person who's like meant to be in your life. And I think when I met Jeremy, I just almost immediately knew that that was true.
It took her 3 months. It took her 3
Almost
months.
Which
immediately.
isn't very long
Yeah,
in the grand
almost.
scope of my 30-year-old life.
Sure. Or
But,
of all of mankind.
Of
time.
all of
Yeah,
mankind.
very small.
Yeah.
Dog kind.
Dog kind. Sorry. How dare
really
I be so
pushing for
Which
that
is
exclusive?
1/7 of humankind.
Yeah.
It took her 3
amen.
months, and then we started dating.
We started dating, and I think, at that point, like, I wasn't really interested in making music. I have a marketing degree. I envisioned myself as maybe like a professional person of some sort, and I'm just really thankful now that I'm in a position where I kind of get to do both. I'm a creative person, but I love working, period, full stop. And I'm just thankful to have found a partner who supports all of those endeavors. And I think hopefully, and maybe we'll talk about this in a second, but hopefully like the music that we make now and even like the shows that we play now and the events that we are a part of are more about like creating music that kind of infiltrates just kind of the moments of your life. Like they don't even have to be the standout moments, but kind of the in-between moments, which if you're in a long-term partnership, you probably know what I mean. But like the sense of like coming home and just making a dinner and it just feeling like safe and secure, I think is what we kind of are trying to make music for. And that's a really like special thing for us to get to do together then as a couple who's been together, now for almost 7 years as a married couple. And
You've married about 7?
we've been married 7, I guess.
It'll be 7 in April.
There you go.
Okay. So you guys are pretty close to like me and my wife.
Oh,
I think
cool.
April. What date on April?
17th.
We're 26.
Oh my gosh.
But so I think we're 1 year past. Well,
Okay.
April will be
15.
8.
Yeah.
That sounds
The
right.
names
15.
Jeremy and Kat aren't so dissimilar from Jury and Corinne.
Oh my
Touche.
God. Is
Are
Kat
we the
short for
multiverse?
Catherine?
Yes.
Okay.
Is
I
it?
assume so, but I don't know. It could just be Cat.
Is it? Yeah, of
Jeremy,
I've
course.
known two other
Catherine,
people who
Jerry,
go by
Corinne.
Kat, and they were both Catherines. That's why.
Yeah, my full legal proper Southern cotillion name,
Yes.
as aforementioned, is Catherine Rose. You know, it's a family name. So, anyways, yeah, I think all those things combined, though, I think that's how we ended up here. Just kind of, we started one thing after another. It sounds stupid now that I understand that booking is hard. But in the beginning, it really just became like we were doing this thing in one really small environment. And that led to more and more things that were connected to that environment. And then from there, I think Jeremy and I both really bonded over our desire to be entrepreneurs, for lack of a better explanation. And we're just like, we're just going to figure this out. And like, I have so many memories now of us being in our first apartment, like once we were married, trying to figure out like, what are the dimensions for a CD jacket? And we didn't create a graphic for that. Like, what does that mean? And I know that's super outdated now, but just, I think hopefully what I've always been drawn to about Jeremy is that, especially as a girl or a female, he just made me feel like I could do whatever I wanted, and that I was like powerful enough to do it. And so when I think back on those early days of just being like, oh, we need dimensions for this thing, I think about Jeremy just being like, well, you can figure that out. And he was right. Like, and that's really cool in a partnership, you know, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's so similar to me and my wife, except
Oh, yeah?
for it's a little different in that I can't stop my wife from doing anything that she wants ever.
Sure.
So it functions the same,
Right.
you know,
Right.
but I have no control
Yeah.
or
A
set.
1,000,000%. It's the same.
Yeah.
Chameleon percent.
Chameleon.
Chameleon.
Backup name is about chameleons or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
Well, we are coming up pretty close to our time
Yeah.
here, but
Oh,
before
sorry.
we do have a question that we do have to ask you. It's a question that we ask every guest.
Okay.
true.
So here's the thing. If you had to choose,
And you do.
and
I'm
you
stressed.
do. Now, but the important thing is,
Okay.
the important thing is not take it too seriously. Look, the answer, the important thing is the answer must come from here.
Oh.
And for
Okay.
the podcast listeners, he's pointing to his head.
Okay.
It must
stressed.
come from here.
Oh.
And for the
Not.
podcast listeners,
Oh,
only
here,
he's
not
pointing
here.
to his heart.
Okay, go on.
Do we really want to drag this out?
All right,
No,
spit
we
it
don't need to
out.
drag it out.
No.
No. If you had to choose,
Yeah, and you do.
and you do.
Now, Jury's doing the whole thing that we used to do.
Used to.
Yeah. I don't know if you really want to keep that up?
No.
Yeah.
We,
this is the
can-
bit we were talking about at the
Right,
beginning.
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to do
whole-
this bit anymore.
Yeah,
It's
no,
an old
no, no.
bit.
So the whole
Okay.
bit is like, oh, we have this important question, and we do.
And we do. And you do.
But here's the thing. We used to drag it out really long and make people like
Anxious.
very nervous and anxious about what the question was going to be.
Me?
By
Well, it's really not that
dragging it
important.
out
It's not
on
that
and on
important.
again.
I'm sweating.
It's
It's
pretty
a
important.
very simple question.
I'm also not sure if I put on deodorant.
So we would we would go on and on and on about what the question was going to be
Right.
in
Right.
order to create that tension.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
it. It's a good bit.
Yeah, but we're
You
not
should
doing
keep
that
it
anymore.
Those kind of
We're
things.
not doing that anymore.
No, we're done with that.
Yeah. We're just,
Yeah.
now we just ask the question.
You've
Just-
Now
grown.
we just ask it
yeah.
right
When you
away.
know better, you do better.
Straight off. When you know better, you do better.
True.
So we're not going to drag out what this question is too long. Jury.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to choose,
And
no.
you do.
and you do. Now we didn't actually go
Oh my
over
gosh.
what it means to answer
Stop.
from here.
No. We should talk about what's going on.
Jeremy,
Jeremy is not
do
allowed.
it, Jeremy.
Don't do it.
Don't press the blue button.
I'm putting on my PR hat. Jeremy
We're like the
is
devil
not
angel
allowed.
on the shoulder.
Yeah.
But what that actually looks like in real life
In practice.
is the answer must be quick.
Instant.
Okay, go.
I don't want you to think about it.
In fact, immediate.
I want
I
the
think
answer
about everything.
that's from
Yeah,
your
not anymore.
heart.
Not anymore. You
from
don't.
the depths of your soul.
right,
Okay.
right away.
That's what
ready.
we need.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to choose,
And you do.
and
Right, I get it.
you do, what would you say? Is
Now
your
this is hold on. This is the part.
Wow, Ryan.
Sorry.
No, this
this.
is not. This is not for me. I am a Like, I am an Enneagram 9
Over
who
the
is
years, this has gotten longer and longer and longer. It's half the episode at this point.
Back in the day, right at that spot, jury would actually ask the question.
Back in the day, like 2 weeks ago.
And it's up because we've built all this tension. Right?
Okay.
All this tension. You're thinking about what question am I about to answer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What am I going to say?
Sure.
Am I going to look stupid? I'm in front of the
course.
whole world right now. Millions of people
Whole
are
world.
listening.
Millions.
That's not true, but you might feel like millions are listening.
Also, they
what
might.
I say next, they'll judge me by.
Right.
And so we'd build all this tension, and then jury would ask.
If you had to choose.
And then he would ask it at that point.
Right.
And look at all that tension that's been built. That's not
Pointless.
fair to you at all.
Pointless.
So
Oh, the double.
I think I need more build up,
Yeah,
actually, to feel
So-
confident.
So we're not going to do that. We're just going to be very straightforward and just ask the very important question that
Is it
everyone's going to
about
judge you by.
Jaws?
If you had to choose.
And you do.
Right.
And you do.
Whoa.
Is it about
got a
Star
quick study
Wars
here.
or
That's
Lord of the
great.
Rings?
None.
What would you say?
Thank God.
What would you say? Oh, by the way, you both have to answer at the exact
time.
same time.
Okay.
Because there's two of you.
Instantly, yeah.
I
Doesn't
did
have to be
forget
the
to mention
same
that. We don't
answer.
mention that when there's only one person.
We
Yeah,
won't.
yeah, yeah.
We will not have
It doesn't
the
have
same
to be the same answer, but you both have to answer at the same time.
Okay.
Yep.
Go.
If you had to choose.
And you do.
And you do. What would you say
Jeremy's getting so much joy.
is your favorite kind of turtle?
Oh, box.
Eastern box.
Okay, first of all, box is legitimate. Eastern box? I feel like that was just playing off the
Is
box.
that real?
Look
Pull
it
out
up,
the
Wes.
phone.
Look it up, Wes.
Yeah,
Pull
fact check that,
out-
Wesley.
Is there such
Well, I
a
just
thing as
peeked there.
Eastern
Started
box? We've never heard that.
Never heard of
Boom.
it.
Eastern box turtle.
We've gotten a lot of answers to this.
We've gotten a lot of box turtles.
There it is.
Eastern
Oh, that's a nice
box
one.
turtle.
How does that compare to
The
the regular
main.
box?
This is just the more specified. You didn't really understand that you were
So,
dealing
oh.
with a zoologist.
Oh, a
You're not.
zoologist.
I can't make that claim. This is not. Robertson Music does not endorse or
Does not
is the
endorse
zoology
any of the
podcast.
claims made by this podcast.
That's probably a good call.
Yeah, it's for the best. Just got to put that statement.
Okay,
out.
so is Eastern box just box?
yeah,
is it the
basically
same?
just a box. Yeah.
But you just know a little more.
I don't even know if I know more. It's just more of those were the ones that wandered into our yard.
So why? Why is box? Is that why? Is because this is what you saw growing up?
Yes.
Jury, I think this comes back to our full blown discussion of like, what have you experienced and how has that influenced your own life and perception?
Wow, way to bring it around.
And the reality is, I can remember a box turtle wandering into our yard and my mom saying,
Sorry, an Eastern box turtle?
I was
actually-
getting
be
there.
specific.
I actually
Am
have
I-
a really funny story. Or actually, it's not funny, but it's actually quite sad.
Can I just say what we've learned is that every time we ask this question, somebody has a story about a turtle.
Well, yeah.
It's
if you're-
amazing.
Really?
If you're
it is
from-
amazing. Yes.
I don't want to speak for those on the West Coast, but if you are from like Texas over, it feels like you experienced a turtle being in a unprecedented environment in your home, in some environment or like some situation.
I'll say it really quickly.
No, go for it. Take as much time as you need.
Middle school. Okay, me and
Were
my
you
two,
cute then?
Nah.
Look at you now.
Incredibly cute.
Definitely
Subjective.
cute.
Subjective.
Jeremy's also a twin,
Oh my God.
which didn't
God,
come
there's
up
two
during
of
the-
you?
It's a girl twin.
One's still free.
Shout out
Oh,
to
girl twin.
JC.
Hey, Jace. No, I was in middle school with two of my best buds in the neighborhood, and we were coming back from the creek because that's what you do in middle school because
Butt rock.
it's fun. We'd been hanging out on Butt Rock. It was a rock that looked like a butt.
Fair enough.
And on our way back, we saw a turtle in the creek, and we're like, we should obviously take that home.
Obviously, you're junior hires.
Let's name it. I can't remember what we named it, but
Donatello, probably.
probably one of them.
He
Yeah,
mattered. He mattered.
We take him home, and we get to my house, and we're about to say goodbye. We had to go somewhere, and we're like, let's just put him in our drainage ditch right there by our driveway, and that's where he'll live.
Yeah, it's a spot.
It'll be fine.
There's water there. You took
And
inventory
grass.
and you were like, all the things he wants.
Yeah.
Fast forward 10 minutes later, and we're in the car, and we're backing up. And yep, now you know.
Donatello.
Now you know the rest of the story.
Since meeting me,
My mom, she puts it in reverse, and all you hear is just
The crunch.
yeah.
since
Yeah.
meeting me, I would just like to say that Jeremy and I have been involved in at least 3 turtle rescues since that.
Rescues.
So
Okay, I thought you were about to say you
Jeremy's-
ran over with at least 3 turtles. I was like,
No.
you monster.
No, gosh. I remember my dad accidentally running over a duck as the
A duck?
most.
Why didn't it fly away?
We were kids. There were these ducks that walked across the same road every day. Honestly, it might not have even been my dad. It might have been the car in front of us.
Might not even been an accident.
Might
They're
not
on the same
even-
road every day.
TBD.
Might not even have been a duck.
But that's the one thing I'm certain of. And I, it's just stuck with me forever.
I believe it. You see
Yeah.
it. You see a duck ran over. It sticks with you.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I had 4 turtles when I was a kid. 4, and
In
I
the
named
same terrarium?
yeah, and I named them after the Ninja
Yep.
Turtles, and 2 of them got ran over by a car. I was like 5.
How did they
you
get
know?
out of the terrarium?
I have no
ones?
idea. I was like 5 or 6. I don't remember.
Which ones?
I don't remember. I don't know. I wish I knew.
I have questions about how they got to the driveway.
I have
They're
no
turtles.
idea. I probably just put them there. I was 5 or 6. I probably just put them there and didn't know. But I don't actually remember that. That might not be true.
Shout
or I
out-
murdered these 2 turtles. One or
If
the other.
you
I
are
don't-
Jury's mom and you are listening and can provide insight into what happened. Thanks. You're like, where did those turtles go?
They're like, you had turtles? Yeah.
Okay. So much subtext. Are you allowed to tell, stripped of all the details, just about? You told me a story recently about some lettuce
No.
and a turtle.
Wait, what? I thought you were going to say the thing they mentioned earlier, and I
Robertson
was like, we
Music
already said we
does
couldn't talk
not
about that.
condone or affirm any of the statements made. I'm just kidding.
I just love. You told me on Saturday a story involving a turtle and lettuce.
Really?
And I was like, oh my God, knowing the question I'm about to ask you, this is phenomenal.
This is the part of the podcast where we talk about turtles.
Yeah. I was like, this is going to come up, but you can't tell the story.
That's
So
fair.
we
If you
love-
can't, you can't. If you
Unfortunately,
can't,
we
you can't.
can't.
That's okay.
I guess we'll just probably have to come back.
You will have
You
to
have to
come
come back.
For
Tell
sure.
that story.
We didn't even talk about Bigfoot. We didn't talk about any of the conspiracy theories.
Bigfoot.
Like, we didn't even get into that.
Yeah.
Quick brush on the major conspiracy theories so we can feel where we're at.
Yeah.
Who believes in Bigfoot? Yes.
50-50, but
50-50?
probably.
Ryan?
Probably.
Jeremy?
Sure.
Yeah.
Aliens.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. FEMA coffins.
I don't know about that yet.
Never heard of it.
But I'm leaning,
Don't know.
I'm inclined
QAnon.
to believe. QAnon's real. What do you mean?
QAnon.
100% real.
What?
Will you say?
That's a hard one to. That's a hard one to give a
Right.
one
I'm
word.
just trying to-
Jury isn't part of QAnon, apparently. New episode title.
I'm definitely.
whoa.
I'm definitely not QAnon. If anything,
I'm
I'm
just trying to
anonymous.
give you, some clippable content.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. You're saying you believe that QAnon exists.
Yeah.
Which
Or-
is absurd because everybody knows it does. Jerry, I believe when she said QAnon, you should say, no, I don't believe in that because you
Oh,
don't.
fascinating.
Oh yeah, I don't believe in that. Wait, where are we going?
You believe that people believe in QAnon.
And
you don't.
that makes QAnon
do you,
exist.
sorry, do you follow Q?
No,
So you don't believe in QAnon.
I don't.
What about
You
Q
believe
drops?
that they are a real thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I don't agree with the sentiments
Right.
necessarily.
So you should have
I don't think
said,
I do.
No.
I don't think I do. I don't know enough to know if I
You
do
don't-
or not.
you
But I'm
don't
pretty
know
sure I
about
don't.
What QAnon is?
I know some, but I can't.
Do you believe that Donald Trump is the savior of America and that he's going to prevent the coming storm? He's going to
We've gotta go.
stop all of the pedophiles.
Hey guys, this has been so
No,
fun.
no.
Thank you so much for
I
having
definitely
us.
don't believe that. But I don't know the full breath. But anyways, you started this. Yeah, we're doing it right now, Wes. We're right now.
Okay, Wesley's like, wrap it.
Wesley's like,
Wesley's
hey,
like-
can you guys go ahead and shut up?
yeah.
No, Wesley's like, if we don't stop now, Donald Trump is going to come down here and kill us all.
To be fair, every single week, I've said this before on the show.
Or
but
save us
every
all,
single
depending
week,
on
I
your
tell my
political
wife,
bent.
That's
I tell
right.
my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna be home by 9. No problem. I'll definitely be home by 9. Every week I tell.
The only consistent thing about our podcast is that
I'm-
at the end, Jury talks about how
How I
he told
always
his
tell my
wife he would
wife.
come home at 9.
And it never happens in one time, which is fine. Which
Which
fine.
is a great way to say you lie to your wife every week.
Oh, wow.
And
No,
should
I
just say a
mean to
different
tell the
time.
truth.
Right.
I mean it every week.
Intention and action. are
Yeah, I gotta get
separate
home,
things.
watch The Office with my wife.
Hey,
Tell
I
your
get it.
wife
She's
10.
never seen it.
Tell
Watching it
your
for the
wife
first time.
It's 10 on Mondays.
You mean
Let's
your
be real.
sister?
Yes.
Yeah, your sister, my
sister.
wife.
Bring this back
His
to where it
wife.
really is.
This episode is now called My Sister, His Wife.
I think we could.
Or
if-
your wife, his
Honestly, you
sister.
could for real have a
Featuring the
podcast
song
called
My
that.
Love
My love, your
but the
love.
thing is, if we were to call, we'd have to call every this is mentioned every single episode.
Yeah, you should have a my. What is it?
We need a
The-
T-shirt
My
for
sister,
it.
his wife.
My sister.
That's one of our first T-shirts we need to get made. Merch.
So, bringing this to a close.
Yeah, we'll take all your suggestions.
You
and say
started
yes.
a band called Robertson.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with any of the controversial topics we talked about today. It's just good music.
Amen. We're just people.
Just people having a good
2
time.
recent new songs out. My Love, Your Love, and Clover, which you heard earlier in
Yeah.
the show. A new one coming out very soon.
Well,
Ish. Called
Hoping.
Rabbit Hole. We're working on it right now.
Yep.
And in the
I feel like
meantime,
that should be a new intro to our shows every once in a while. The rabbit hole. It's like very descriptive
ooh,
of how
yeah,
we
you
function.
could.
it is
Maybe
so
you will
true.
use it when you go down to like conspiracy
Yeah.
theory land. You can use our song.
Add it to the soundboard.
Yep.
So we're gonna go out playing your song "We Still Do."
Oh,
But
wow.
before we do, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, all the socials, shows coming up, anything.
You can find
Tell 'em.
us wherever you prefer to exist on the internet, mostly at J.K. Robertson Music. Actually, that's
What's the
mostly accurate.
your
Yeah,
initials.
J.K.
Got it.
Because the domain was too expensive. And
JKRobertson.com.
RobertsonMusic.com was very expensive.
Robertson.
Probably because of the Duck Dynasty people. I should
That
look
makes
into
sense,
That. But
yeah.
anyways, if you guys are our relatives, please reach out anytime.
Send us money.
But yeah, you can find us wherever you listen to things or get on the internet at J.K. Robertson Music or just Robertson Music.
It's on the Facebooks, the Twitters,
Hey, wherever you
the
exist.
Instagrams.
Actually,
the
I
TikToks.
don't think we have a band Twitter
The
because
Clubhouse.
We never did that.
it's dead.
We tried
The
Clubhouse
MySpace.
for
We
The
did
Be
try
Real,
Clubhouse. And
Live Journal,
you know what?
Zynga.
We could talk about this for forever.
Dude, Zynga.
But I-
throwback.
I'm like, you're just maybe old enough to remember Zynga. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's where I learned like basic.
that was original
HTML.
social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent full
yeah.
circle. I spent hours trying to get Dead on Arrival by Fall Out Boy on my Zynga page. Like Googling how to
How do I embed?
Yeah. Real talk,
I
though,
did
if
it.
I can end this with anything, it's that I think I hate Be Real. Oh, as an app. Yeah.
I'm enjoying
She tried it.
I just
I-
started. I like it.
I
That's
have
it.
never used it, and I already hate it.
I
Wesley.
hate it.
Go to the Wesley Cam. You don't have to tell us, but nod if you like Be Real and shake your head if you don't like
Oh,
Be Real.
Ryan already knows that Wesley likes. Oh, he's giving me a thumbs
Ooh,
down.
I just thought, oh.
You don't like Be Real?
He gave a thumbs down, then a
Listen.
thumbs up. Now we're all confused.
Oh, he's giving a thumbs.
Wesley loves,
He loves
Be
it.
Real.
Of course
You
he
do?
does. Of
Yeah.
course he does.
Here are my two thoughts. One, I'm immediately against anything that relies on sending me notifications for me to be successful.
True. Number one, that's a problem.
Two, if I can't use it for marketing purposes, then what is this?
Okay.
And since you have to have a mutual follow,
Social
That's
media
why
should not be
I
for
like
marketing.
social media at large.
Social media at large
Okay.
is primarily for marketing at this point. and
Totally
it
agree.
Shouldn't be.
Yep.
And again, coming full circle, as long as people, I wish people knew that. If everyone was opting in as like, oh, this is where I'm going to find out about what products I like.
Right. And that's why I don't use it.
Yeah.
I use it very, very little.
But the average consumer is like, I love social media. Brenda's going to tell me about,
Brenda's going to try to sell you her Etsy shop.
or her MLM.
And
Definitely
anything.
her. Brenda is definitely a part of
Okay,
Young Living.
now we're not going to go into this because I know we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up.
Ryan, too far.
But I got to say, I am very pro MLM.
Okay.
We can talk about that in episode 2.
Next week, Jury and I launching our new podcast.
New podcast.
I'm just kidding. Or
But anyways,
am I?
guys, as always, thanks for coming to hang out. You guys are awesome, and we'll see y'all next time.
Look at us together. The two of us make a pretty good team. For worse or for better. That's what we say and that's what we mean. easy. I'm not perfect and neither are you. One thing you've taught me, our love is safe, there's nothing to prove. Our love is safe, there's nothing to prove. We still do. You take me and I'll take you. We still do. Whatever comes, we'll make it through. 'Cause we still do. Look how far we've made it. Grown leaps and bounds, year after year. We are slowing down now. If you get lost, there's nothing to fear. If you get lost, there's nothing to fear. When you get lost, you can find me right here. We still do. You take me and I'll take you. We still do. Whatever comes, we'll make it through. We still do. I've got the world if I've got you. 'Cause we still do. Couldn't find the words, even though I felt this way for so long. Hope that you'll believe me now that you've heard this simple song.